Story time about how I almost died when I was 4 years old. So my mom was at work and my dad and I were at home, and my dad was watching TV while I was trying to do headstands. I don't know, guys, I thought I was an acrobat at the time. So anyways, I had a penny in my mouth. I know, it's super dirty, don't come at me, I was 4, I didn't know. And my dad didn't know. And every time that I would do these headstands, I would roll over onto my back. Well, I rolled over and I started choking. And my dad looks over and I'm laying on the floor literally like freaking dying. He's freaking the hell out. So he calls 911 and I got rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. And the penny was sticking straight up at the time, so nobody was really worried about getting it out right then and there. And my throat was like holding that penny in place, so no, my dad couldn't do the Heimlich or whatever the heck it's called. Well, the penny flipped. And I stopped breathing and everybody was freaking out and they had to hurry up and get it out before I died.
So when I was little, my mom took me and my brother to the local pool. I was 12, he was 4. So while my mom and I sunbathed, he played in the kiddie pool. When all of a sudden he comes up to us and says, "Mommy, I gotta go pee-pee." And instead of taking him to the bathroom, my mom said, "Go pee-pee in the pool." Shame on you, Carolyn. We continued to lay out in the sun until all of a sudden we hear everyone scream, "Oh my God, some kid's peeing in the kiddie pool." Torian didn't understand, and he went over to the kiddie pool, pulled down his pants, and pee-peed like he was peeing in the toilet. But my mom is clever, and she pretended like she didn't know whose kid it was. And we never went back to that pool again.
My sister's a nail tech check.
Story time. So about 3 years ago, I was working at Burger King, and the job was overall really chill. But there was always this one customer who literally like carried her dog in her purse, always wore like pink and sunglasses. She just like looked bougie and acted bougie. She would always come to Burger King and be like, "I'm getting food for my dog," and like make a statement like it's not for her, it's for her dog. And she would always say racist slurs. And I think she had anger issues too. She came in the drive-thru this one time and we were packed, so obviously everything's delayed a little bit. And when she came to the window, she literally said, "F you, go back to Mexico, and F your dad." I didn't say one word. I had this large drink in my hand, and my only reaction was to just simply throw it at her.
Okay, part 2 about the guy who pretended to be gay in high school to get closer to all the girls. So like I said, we all lift up our shirts, and because we were on FaceTime, we couldn't see if he screenshotted anything. And then the one night we were having a sleepover, and he was really upset that night because apparently the popular boys were making fun of him. Because the only reason why he was gay is because he couldn't get with any girls. So me and my friends thought of a solution, but like we were just trying to be nice. And now looking on it, that is the dumbest shit that we've ever done. And we're all like, "Oh, well, why don't you just say that you did the nasty with all of us?" And he was like, "Well, I don't think they'll believe it, even if you guys said, yeah, you did do it." So we were like, "Okay, then let's do it for real." So that night, we did the nasty, all 5 of us.
So that morning, we all wake up and he's literally gone. Like, he didn't wake us up to say goodbye, which wasn't normal. So the weekend goes past. Monday, we go to school. And in the morning, my friends and I have time to walk around and everybody's just staring at us, like for part 3. Story time about how I found out that my boyfriend was trying to get with another girl on Valentine's Day. Okay, there's a lot that goes into this story time, so let me break it down for you real quick. I was a sophomore and my boyfriend and I had been dating for about 4 months now. And he was a junior. Well, there was this girl that he was for some reason obsessed with in his Spanish class. She was a freshman. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, well, how did you know he was obsessed with her? Well, he would Snapchat this girl 24/7. Even his friends told me he was obsessed with her. So I talked to him and I told him I was uncomfortable with how much he was talking to this girl. And he said, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'll block her. Now, I didn't ask him to do that, but it made me feel more confident in how he felt about me. Well, Valentine's Day comes around. And we didn't talk all day until he came to pick me up. I wished him a happy Valentine's Day and got left undelivered. So we get to the restaurants and we decide to put our phones at the end of the table so that way we would be more focused on each other. Well, he goes to the bathroom and then I see this name pop up on his phone, like for part 2.
How to make someone obsessed with you. Okay, listen. What I'm about to share is very manipulative, and I don't recommend you use it on just anyone. But if you want to know how, then watch till the end. A lot of people think that if you want someone to be obsessed, you need to play hard to get or ignore them, and that is false. What you actually need to do is send mixed signals. Because think about it. Whenever someone has sent you mixed signals, that's when you've started to psychoanalyze and figure out what went wrong, and that is when you get hooked. So how do you send mixed signals? Easy. You're gonna create pleasure and pain. Let's start with pleasure. Give this person attention, give them hope, let them get comfortable. Almost like they're in an ocean with unlimited supplies of water. Next up, pain. You're gonna take them from that ocean and drop them in the desert. Okay, no more water supply. In other words, no contact. Because that's when they're gonna get confused, and that's when they're gonna worry that they lost you. The less certain they are, the more obsessed they'll become. Tap that plus sign to follow for more and find me on Insta to choose my next topic.
Story time about the guy who pretended to be gay in high school to get closer to all the girls. So it was the first day of my freshman year, and at lunch this guy came and sat with me and my friends. And we were super confused because he was like one of the popular boys. And we were like, oh, why aren't you sitting with your friends? And he's like, oh, because ever since I came out as gay, they don't want to be friends with me anymore and they're being super mean to me. So we felt really bad and we started getting to know him and he was actually a really cool person. So we started inviting him to our sleepovers and everything like that. And because he was gay, we felt really comfortable getting dressed around him, talking about things that we wouldn't talk about in front of anybody. So like 2 months go past and at this point he knows so much about us, like stuff that nobody else knew. Like he even knew that one of my friends was born with both private parts, which is something that she never told anybody except for me and the girls in my friend group. Well, we're all on FaceTime the one day and my friend goes, oh, have you ever seen boobs before? And he goes, no. So we all lift up our shirt like for part 2.
Part 2 to a cop searching my car without my permission. So I see this police officer opening up my car door and putting his head inside my car. So I'm like, excuse me, officer, is there an issue? Why are you searching my car? And he was like, oh, like, this is your car? And I was like, yes, do you have a warrant? And then he said, do you live here? And I was like, no, but do you have a warrant? And then he said, no, actually, the neighbor called me because he was concerned and I actually live down the street and the car was unfamiliar, so I felt the need to search it. I can't see inside of your car because of the tint, so I didn't know if somebody was in there, like maybe sleeping in their car or something. I don't really remember what he said, but I was like, okay, but I think you need a warrant to search the car. Please close my door. And honestly, he was pretty nice about it, I'm not gonna lie. I was just really annoyed because in my head I'm thinking like, why? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm always getting caught up for doing nothing.
Story time of how I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me with my cousin. My boyfriend and I had been together for 2.5 years. His family loved me and my family loved him and they expected us to get married. Well, last year when COVID started, we were actually in different countries, so we didn't see each other for 3 months. During those 3 months, we FaceTimed 4 times a day. And we were always texting. He happened to be quarantining in our hometown, so both of our families were in the same place. I was quarantined in a different country. One day my cousin calls me and tells me that she met a really nice guy on a dating website. I was so happy for her because she had had bad luck with guys. Every single week, her and I would catch up on the phone and she would tell me how much she liked this guy, and how amazing their dates were, and how amazing he was in bed, how sweet and considerate he was. I couldn't be happier for her. Well, when I finally get back home, my boyfriend is super distant and cold. So naturally, I called my cousin and complained. She told me to give him space. She said I should just leave him alone. And so like an idiot, I did leave him alone.
One day my cousin calls me and tells me to come over for dinner. When I got there, my boyfriend's car was parked in her garage. I thought it was just her nice way of trying to get us to talk. I walk in and catch them doing the dirty on the couch. Come back for part 2.
I mean, never forget the time that we had a male sub in high school and a girl asked to go to the restroom and he said sure. So she grabbed something and he heard a wrapper and he was like, oh, if you're gonna eat candy, you can do it in here, but you have to share with everyone in the class. And she was like, what? And he was like, well, I heard the wrapper. And she whips out a tampon, shoves it in his face, and she goes, you wanna share? Oh, girl.
Sneaking my ex-boyfriend into my house. So he gets in my closet, and at this time I had so much.
Hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. It does help support us, and let's know what videos you guys want to see.